Do not be concerned about the specs surrounding the iPhone 17, because it's time to shift our focus to the future. The iPhone 18 Pro is poised to be one of the most innovative upgrades in recent years, featuring substantial enhancements in design, entirely new functionalities, and significant hardware overhauls, including improved chip efficiency. This upcoming update is so noteworthy that reports suggest Apple may, for the first time, launch the Pro models before the standard iPhone 18, which could be delayed until the following spring. If you are contemplating the iPhone 17 and thinking, "That's not particularly groundbreaking," you are not alone. Mark Gurman shares this sentiment. This year's iPhones are expected to lack remarkable features. However, the iPhone 18 Pro promises to deliver exceptional capabilities. In this discussion, we will delve into the 10 most significant leaks and 6 major advancements that indicate you should consider waiting for the iPhone 18 Pro or 18 Pro Max. We will explore everything from a display that nearly eliminates reflections to a chip manufactured using a 2nm process, as well as the potential discontinuation of the dynamic island. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Why are we even talking about the iPhone 18 when the 17 series has just been announced? This is the thing. Apple has a continual pipeline of new things coming out all the time, and they are continuously working on generations ahead. Do you remember that around 2004, Apple was actually making the iPad before they ever invented the iPhone? They released the iPhone, then they delayed the iPad plan, and brought it out a couple of years after the first generation iPhone. We've also heard comparable timelines for the Vision Pro. Tim Cook himself has revealed they were working on the Vision Pro for about a decade in the making to get it built. Apple is continually making the next goods years in advance. They don't just release one phone, go back to the drawing board, and start again. They invest in research for future generations. That is precisely why we get these leaks pouring in already. So, with that context noted, let's get into the enhancements that make the 17 look absolutely old. For many years, since the iPhone X came out in 2017, we've had to cope with the notch. Apple shrank it down a little, then constructed an island out of it, the dynamic island. The thing is, you can't get rid of it if you want the true depth sensors to operate with Face ID. And Face ID is, objectively, the best face recognition system on any smartphone out there. Feature number 1. We are finally getting under-display Face ID. This is monumental. It means that the entire pill-shaped cutout, the dynamic island, all of that is going to be gone. The display technology required to make Face ID function under the screen is going to be great. Now, with under-display Face ID, we are basically just going to have a pinhole camera cutout, similar to what Samsung has been doing for years, and Apple can technically move that camera any place. They are supposedly going to choose to position it over to the top left of the display. I believe this is a less obtrusive placing than having it right there smack in the middle. However, it is crucial to note that not all leaks agree on the entire elimination of the dynamic island in the 18 Pro. Some sources imply that while Face ID is developing, it may still require another generation or two before it goes totally concealed behind the screen. These different sources suggest that we could have a smaller dynamic island, shaving off nearly a third of its size in all diameters. This is because the sensors for the third generation of Face ID are becoming smaller as technology improves. The benefit here is simply that you won't have that enormous island sitting at the top when you're watching video. Whichever style we get, the display itself is getting a significant improvement. Feature number 5 is an anti-reflective display coating. Samsung has been utilizing a particularly nice scratch-resistant and anti-reflective display coating, one that has dominated the iPhone ever since the S24 Ultra. It offers deep blacks and scarcely any reflections. It was cancelled for the iPhone 17 lineup, but it looks like it's getting delayed till the 18 lineup. This will be a great benefit. Using the phone in the sun or in your automobile will be a much nicer experience. The input text is generally clear, but some areas could benefit from additional context or clarification. The tone remains consistent throughout. Here's a revised version that aims to enhance clarity and coherence. For those interested in design modifications, there's an intriguing rumor regarding the rear of the phone. The second upgrade suggests that the back glass, known as Ceramic Shield 2, may be slightly more transparent this time. This change could allow users to glimpse a portion of the internal components while still being able to appreciate the exterior color. You might be able to observe the inner workings, possibly including elements such as the MagSafe coil. This feature would serve as a notable design distinction when compared to the iPhone 17 models. Performance breakthrough: the 2M chip. The third feature represents one of the most significant advancements in chip hardware in many years, the A20 Pro chip. The A20 Pro will be manufactured using 2nm technology from TSMC. However, the more substantial development is that Apple is employing gate-all-around field effect transistor semiconductor technology for the first time, as opposed to the original thin field effect transistor. Gate-all-around field effect transistor technology has significant implications for efficiency, particularly in reducing power leakage, which is a primary cause of excess heat and diminished performance. This indicates we're anticipating significant improvements. 1. 15% quicker performance overall, or 2. If kept at the same clock speed, 30% more power efficiency. That efficiency is wonderful news for individuals concerned about battery life. It's going to help out substantially. Now, some sources claim that shifting to 2 nanometers might make the processor a little hotter than the 3 nanometer predecessor, but the vapor chamber that was newly included in the iPhone 17 Pro models should really assist in managing that heat with the A20 Pro chip. 1. RAM, memory, and connectivity. In tandem with that A20 Pro, we have big memory and connectivity improvements coming. Feature number 10 is massive for the entire lineup. We are expecting the full iPhone 18 lineup, including the Pros, to come with 12 GB of RAM. This is a significant deal for multitasking and overall performance. 12 gigs seems to be the golden spot, as going up to 16 gigs would actually match Apple's M4 MacBooks, which is an enormous amount of RAM. On top of the regular 12 gigs, feature number 7 points to Apple upgrading to new high-performance RAM or memory using 6 channels. This is going to dramatically boost the speed and the memory bandwidth. This will, of course, aid multitasking, but more crucially, Apple Intelligence features are likely to be performing a lot better and faster with this high-performance memory. Finally, for connectivity, feature number 9 suggests Apple is officially ready to dump Qualcomm. We are anticipating the Apple C2 modem to show up with the 18 Pro. Right now, the older C1 modem doesn't support millimeter wave 5G, which is why the 17 Pro versions are supposedly not using it. The C2, or even the much more efficient C2X, is going to support millimeter wave 5G. Switching over to their own C2 modem will be a lot more efficient, helping increase that battery life even further when combined with the 2 nanometer A20 Pro chip. The ultimate camera upgrades cinematic images of photography samples, focused on depth of field and light control. If the performance and design enhancements don't tempt you, the camera innovation certainly will. The one I'm genuinely eager for, a variable aperture main camera. This is a true variable aperture, not a digital one. It will operate with that 48 megapixel fusion camera on both Pro models. If you are a photographer, you know all about aperture. The aperture determines how much light enters in, and that also changes how much background blur you have. The difficulty with a static aperture is that when it's too bright outdoors, the phone has to raise the shutter speed, especially for video. This often generates those choppy lines when you're moving too quickly. With a variable aperture, you'd be able to basically adjust that aperture down, which takes in less light. They don't have to turn up the shutter speed as much, fixing those jagged line issues. Conversely, at night, they can open the aperture up and give you more light streaming in for higher quality. It closes up more on bright days and opens up more in dark scenarios for improved exposure and light control. Leakers think you may perhaps have the option to manually modify that variable aperture. This would allow you to have your own distinguished DSLR look with your iPhone incorporated into the sensor and not done digitally. Apple is supposedly collaborating with Samsung to have this built. Adding to the camera hardware innovation, Apple is likely migrating away from Sony's sensors. Feature number 6 informs us they will be employing a brand new Samsung camera sensor. This sensor features revolutionary 3-layer stacked technology for the Pro versions. This innovation is intended to give higher dynamic range and overall quality enhancements for the main camera. We also heard about upgrade number 3. The camera control button that was first introduced with the iPhone 16 models is getting an update. Leaks claim Apple is planning to modify how this button functions to make it nicer for a lot of Pro users and help with Pro photography. 2. High-density battery tech. To cap off the hardware upgrades, let's examine power storage. Feature number 8 is the expectation of new high-density battery technology showing up in the 18 Pro. This feature was actually expected to be announced for the iPhone 17 Air and the iPhone Fold to help battery life while making them incredibly thin. Since we are anticipating the 18 Pro models to get thinner compared to the 17 Pros, which are actually getting a bit thicker, it makes sense for Apple to adopt this high-density battery tech into the 18 Pro. Apple is going to continue getting better and better battery life, utterly killing the competition. There you guys go. Those are 10 features and 6 big changes to expect in the iPhone 18 Pro. These are some fairly convincing reasons to wait instead of upgrading to the iPhone 17 series later this year, especially since many of these things are not going to be coming to the 17 lineup. If the 17 doesn't impress you, you might as well simply wait. We're talking about under-display Face ID, a 2nm A20 Pro CPU with gate-around field effect transistor technology, 12 gigs of RAM across the board, and a variable aperture camera that can give you actual DSLR depth. Given these prospective advancements, which feature the under-display Face ID, the 2nm chip, or the variable aperture camera, is the single most compelling reason for you to skip the iPhone 17 and wait for the iPhone 18 Pro. So, that's all we know for now. We'll be sure to keep you updated as soon as we have more information. Thanks for watching.